Hunter Henry touchdown and Zach Allen sack are two of the best bets of the week. We reveal our favorite game bets, player props, and FanDuel lineups for conference championship weekend on today's episode of Locked On Fantasy Football.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NFL fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Fantasy Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcasting network. I am one of your co-hosts, Michelle Magdziuk. When I'm not doing this, I'm a researcher and fantasy analyst with the NFL Network.
And I'm your other co-host, Vinnie Iyer. When I'm not doing this, I'm writing about NFL, fantasy, and betting for sportingnews.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And we're actually going to start with some FanDuel game picks for the week because we like a lot of these. And this Patriots Broncos game, I don't think many people are super excited for, right? So getting in some bets can be a fun way to make these games more exciting. So we'll go through our top 3 favorite game picks, prop bets of the week on FanDuel, get into our PrizePicks picks of the week, and our winning FanDuel lineup today. Vinny, what's your favorite game pick or a prop bet on FanDuel this week?
Well, I think the one weakness of the Broncos defense is just kind of the middle of the field at times because they don't have Pat Surtain, too, playing every position. And they just gave up a big game to Dalton Kincaid of the Bills. So Hunter Henry is going to be more involved this week. His number's pretty low. Dalton Kincaid went over 80 receiving yards. I have Hunter Henry here on the FanDuel prop at 41.5 receiving yards. So I'm taking that, but I'm also going to give the guy an anytime TD so I can get it to plus 249. So we're going to do a little 2-leg parlay with that. I mean, if you like Hunter Henry to have a big game and get some yardage, there's a very good chance he's going to be in the end zone because that's what he does in these type of games when they throw to him with Drake Maye. And I think they will. They're going to drive short to intermediate, get the running game going, have the tight end on the field in key situations. Not the big plays with the wide receivers downfield. That's not going to happen with a pass rush, getting the ball out quickly and the outside coverage. But Hunter Henry should be open 41.5 receiving yards. I think you can get that in a couple long passes here in the middle of the field down the seam from Drake Maye and score a touchdown on one of them.
I like it. No, I'm going to go with Zach Allen of the Broncos to get a sack. It's at plus 154 odds. And Drake Maye takes a ton of sacks. So he took the 4th most in the league in the regular season. He's already taken 10 sacks in these playoffs. No other quarterback has taken more than 6 in the playoffs, and he's taken 10. So he's going to get sacked in this game. The Broncos have the number 1 sack defense in the league this year. I'm going with Zach Allen. Like Nick Bodino could get it too. If you want to do a little parlay with both of them, you could do that. But I like Zach Allen's odds better. You just make more money on him. Allen led the league in quarterback hits this season. He also had a team high 7 quarterback pressures in the divisional round against the Bills, and he gets to face Jarrett Wilson a bunch. He's going to line up against him, their left guard, who allowed the highest sack rate among all left guards this year. So I like his opportunity here. Also, Nick Bonito will be going up against Will Campbell, who has allowed the 4th highest sack rate among left tackles this year. So both Bonito and Zach Allen will be getting after Drake Maye. And I just like Allen's plus 154 odds, so I'm going with him.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, for a team that was very prolific and efficient passing the ball, like they didn't really shut it down on their side. So that's something we'll watch with Drake Maye and taking the sacks and all that. I mean, 5 in each of the first 2 games. So very interesting that the pressure was able to get to him. Part of it, he holds the ball along looking for some big plays. I don't know if he'll do that as much in this game, so he's going to have to do that to win the game. Now, Kyren Williams is where I'm going, not for the rushing yards. I do like this number. Again, we've gone back to early in the season. It's gotten better with Ernest Jones and some other people helping the Seahawks in coverage, but you cannot run on the Seahawks, but you can throw to your backs a little bit more effectively. That was a thing for a lot of the season. But the number is very low as well, so I'm not expecting too much. 13.5 receiving yards here for Kyren Williams. I'm going to take that, and I'm also going to give him the anytime TD because he tends to get in the red zone and pop in a short one against the Seahawks in his history. So plus 261. So you go for plus 249 for Henry on the receiving and the touchdown. Kyren Williams gives you plus 261 and 13.5 with the TD there in the other game.
I think we really like these running backs getting receiving yards this week because I have a couple fun player PrizePicks picks with the running backs with receiving as well. My next favorite one is going to be Kenneth Walker, Kyren Williams, and Davante Adams to combine for at least 4 total touchdowns this weekend at plus 600 odds you get. So if you put down $10, you win 60, put down 100, you win 600, right? But with these guys, I mean, you're talking about Kyren Williams and Kenneth Walker, who both are leading the playoffs this year with 3 touchdowns apiece. Now, Kenneth Walker's all came last week, but with Walker not having the split with Charbonnet, that's huge, right? So now he's going to get all the goal line work. Kyren Williams has the 3rd most touchdowns in the league since 2023. And then Davante Adams led the league in touchdowns this year by a ton. Adams hasn't scored in a while, but I think it's going to come through. So any of these guys could score multiple touchdowns and help me out here. But Walker, Williams, Davante Adams combined for 4, and you get a really nice payout.
Yeah, that's a really good one there with these guys. I mean, I do like the combination. I do like really the TD mixture, and we saw it work really well last couple weeks ago, I should say. But I'm going with a combo as well for the last one. And I know I have ripped on Jarrett Stidham earlier this week, and Drake Maye does have a tough matchup, but his number is 1.5 passing TDs. I think he gets 2 in this game. So I'm going to go over on that. And then Jarrett Stidham is at 0.5 passing TDs. Look at the Patriots as we think are going to have a lead in this one. And it's going to be tough for the Broncos to run. Then Jarrett Stidham is going to probably put up a garbage touchdown at some point here late in the game to somebody. So it's plus 156. So it's not as big of a payout if you get both these quarterbacks, but I'm hoping they're correlated where the Patriots build a lead there with Drake Maye helping out with 2 touchdowns, and then Jarrett Stidham throws something in the 4th quarter when they're down and meaningless and cash in on this one. So plus 156 on that. So I got plus 249, plus 261, plus 156. I always want to look at the plus so we get a little bit of a better juice in paying off those bets.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my last one, we talked about this on our last show, the Patriots and the Broncos to combine for under 42.5 points. I think this is a pretty solid bet this week. Patriots kept the Texans to 16 points, the Chargers to 3 points, right? So I would not expect Jarrett Stidham in this offense being able to put up even 20 points in this game. And I just don't think the Patriots are going to be able to dominate the Broncos defense, because this Broncos defense, if they want, they know everything has to run through them, right? This week, if they want to win this game, they have to play elite. So I think the defense is going to show up big time. And I just can't see a ton of scoring in this game. So I'm definitely taking the under here at 42.5 points.
Yeah, that's a good call by you. I mean, just looking at that game, I mean, it's just something we talked about already, breaking down that show, but breaking down that game and yesterday's show. But yeah, definitely the points are going to be hard to come by, at least for the Broncos side. And that could be enough to pay off here, no matter what the Patriots do. So, like, you could be like even 30-17. Well, not that high, but if we get like 30-12 or something, we would be in business here with that game. So I do like that for sure. And we will get into more of what we like with our PrizePicks picks of the week. We always pick the mores there that you can look at for individual players. We'll get into that here in our next segment and then close with our FanDuel DFS main slate lineups of the week. All right, this episode, Locked On Fantasy Football, is brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax make it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert from start to finish without the stress or guesswork. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and given real peace of mind for you with an expert handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today and make your taxes a lot less taxing here in 2026. All right. Before we continue the show and get into our prize picks of the week, a lot of fun that we have with those, I do have an important announcement for you. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen today, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everyday Club. It gives you access to ad-free audio for our show here. It's compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app, so you can enjoy the show without the ads. And it's an invite to the members-only Locked On Everyday Club Discord server. That's going to be great for you. So listeners Locked On Fantasy Football can get a direct line to us, not just during the season, but all year long. And that would be really nice to connect with you on that level. And really, it's nice for you to support our show in a different way here. And you can do that here. It's very easy to do. It's just $5 a month or $50 for the whole year. It's easy to join up. You just go to lockedonfantasyfootball.supercast.com and you can really help us out here, support the show. Again, it's $5 a month or $50 for the year. Just a little bit is going to go a long way for you to helping you dominate your fantasy leagues, not just during season, but year-round with our expertise here on Locked On Fantasy Football. All right, it is time to get into those prize picks of the week. I cannot believe it. All three of my quarterback rushing numbers came through thanks to some extra time, for sure. Thanks for those extra time games there with overtime for Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. We're going to try to bring it to you, those winning picks this week. So, Michelle, give me your first one, and where are you going with it?
I'm going to go with Kyren Williams, more than 55.5 rushing yards. He had more than 56 rushing yards in every game since week 13, 91 and 70 rushing yards in his 2 games against the Seahawks this year. Even, in week 11, only 12 carries. He got 91 yards. In week 16, 23 carries. It wasn't efficient, but 70 rushing yards. So I think even if he's not efficient, he's going to get the workload and he'll hit this more than 55.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I like that number for sure with Kyren Williams. I mean, it's not too overwhelming here, and Blake Corum has not been as big of a factor. So good call by you there. Now, I'm going with Drake Maye. Again, I like Drake Maye to have a better game than many people might think against his defense. 220.5 passing yards is the number. I think he goes more on this one. The Broncos allow about 212, 213 per game. He's Drake Maye. He's better than that, than the average quarterback that they face. And the Patriots are going to figure out a way to move the ball in this one. Intermediate passing, as I said, short to middle of the field, all that good stuff here that the Patriots will figure it out here with Josh McDaniels, by the way, who once worked in Denver. It's kind of interesting. A little revenge game there for the former Broncos head coach. Yeah, remember that with Tim Tebow. But he's going to be motivated. Drake Maye is going to be on fire here. I think he'll definitely shoot past 220.5 passing yards.
I like it. Well, I don't know if I like it, but I like that you're very confident that Drake Maye will have a good game. I have a feeling he's probably going to be in your FanDuel lineup, possibly. I'm going to go with RJ Harvey, not his rushing, that's for sure, not against these Patriots, but his receiving yards, more than 18.5 receiving yards. He's had more than 30 receiving yards in 3 of his last 4 games in that divisional round. He had 5 receptions, 46 yards, and he's had at least 20 receiving yards in 6 of his last 8 games. Again, all he needs is 18.5. And I think with Stidham back there, he's going to have to check down a bunch. And I think he's going to be utilizing Harvey. And a lot of these games, he's getting 5, 6, 7 targets in the game. So I think Harvey hits that 18.5 receiving yards, and they're going to have to figure out a different way to get their running game going. And I don't think it's necessarily they're going to be able to actually do it on the ground. So use those short receptions as the running game.
Yeah, good call on that. I mean, this is a tough Patriots run defense. They've been all season long. We saw the top run defense look pretty good in the first round. The Jaguars, the Patriots were right up there in dominating. Now I'm going to go with the revenge game. I talked about a little Josh McDaniels revenge with Drake Maye. Cooper Kupp is going to get some revenge against the Rams. It's an interesting storyline in this game. Everyone's looking at Matthew Stafford getting back to the Super Bowl, but Cooper Kupp also has something on the line against his former team. Now, he is not used a lot. It's very shocking how little he's used because Jackson Smith-Njigba accounts for 42% of their passing game production. So nearly 43%, nearly half there, is produced by one receiver. Cooper Kupp is just kind of an afterthought, especially with Rashid Shaheed also in the mix, and he doesn't really do much either. But 2 games, he's had 3 receptions each against the Rams. I think he's going to do one better than that. Now, look, you can go for the easy one. It's more than 1.5 is the favorable pick here, but I'm going demon with 3.5 receptions. So he's going to up it. I mean, he's done 3 and 3. It's time to get 4. I think we can squeeze that out of Cooper Kupp, and I think he'll have a bigger role than people think. He actually was their leading receiver last week, with Jackson Smith and Jigba not needed much.
Yeah, I got 5 receptions last week, and I mean, they didn't even have to throw in the second half like at all. So he definitely could get there. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker, more than 23.5 receiving yards. So again, another running back. I think he's going to hit his receiving. He's had at least 29 receiving yards in 3 of the last 4 games, including in week 16 when he had 64 receiving yards against the Rams. He had 44 receiving yards in the first game against the Rams this year in week 11. No Charbonnet to steal his workload. So I'm actually shocked that this number is so low, and I'm definitely taking the more than. I think if you even want to go to the demon and go higher to like over 30 receiving yards, I'm okay with that too. But right now it's just sitting at 23.5 receiving yards that he needs more than.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to go here, because his rushing, I think, was like 88 or something ridiculous. Like, even in a good game, you can not get that. So this is much better as a number that you can look at with PrizePicks for sure. Now, I have to give you a quarterback rushing one after going 3 for 3 last week. Look, I can't go with Sam Darnold or Matthew Stafford, and I don't want to play something where I'm looking for 3 yards or 4 yards. I don't want to play that one. And I also don't want to play Drake Maye. It's way too high for Drake Maye. I think it's over 40. So I'm going to go with Jarrett Stidham, 13.5. You say, oh, they could really get blown out in this game. But guess who else got blown out and had a lot of rushing yards last week? It was Brock Purdy. So he had to run and scramble for his life in that game against the Seahawks, and he ended up with nearly 40 rushing yards in that one. So I don't need a lot. And Stidham, I look back on his career, yeah, I had to do that. I had to do that task, grind through what he did with the Raiders. Yep, he started games for the Raiders. He started games for the Broncos only so they couldn't pay Russell Wilson just a couple years ago. He actually is not that immobile. Like, he can run around a little bit. He's had some games where he's had some interesting rushing totals. So 13.5, there's people that don't have any clue on what Jarrett Stidham can do. He can move around a little bit. So I'm going to give him 13.5 rushing yards more than in this game, as he runs for his life, often with Harold Landry and others chasing him this week.
All right, let's move on to our FanDuel lineup. It was not easy, right? There's only 2 games. And when you have a backup quarterback in for one of these teams and a lot of good defenses, it's pretty hard to figure out. But I think I made the winning lineup. So I will share that. You will share yours right after a quick break. There's honestly nothing better than being at a live NFL game in the stadium, surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It can be very frustrating. It's why I always use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast and easy and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. And the app could not be easier to use. It's super simple. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, and you can see the exact view from your seat before you buy. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The conference championships are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. And the boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play or just coaching, every play feels bigger and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after an even bigger payout while the playoffs get rolling. So just visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. All right, let's give our winning FanDuel lineups for the conference championship Sunday. And who do you got at quarterback? Are you going to pay up for Matthew Stafford, or did you go elsewhere?
Yeah, I did go elsewhere in this one, and I had to go with my guy for sure. I mean, it is Drake Maye. For better or for worse, I'm going in that direction this week. I'm kind of pushing my chips all in on Drake Maye this week. And look, he was a little bit cheaper than Stafford at 8,100. I'm actually stacking him with the no surprise tight end Hunter Henry at $5,700. So I'm going there. Drake Maye, Hunter Henry is my stack of the week here at quarterback and tight end, and might have some more Patriots in that lineup cracking it a little bit later.
So I did pay up for Matthew Stafford because he's the only quarterback that I can trust for fantasy points among these four guys left. And it was a little expensive at 8,300, but I felt like it was worth it. And then I did a double stack with him. I went with Devontae Adams. He was pricey, but not nearly as much as Puka Nacua. And yeah, Nacua will probably get a lot more receiving yards, but it's time for Adams to come down with a couple more touchdowns, right? He's due. And then I'm also putting in Kobe Parkinson there at tight end. He was the most expensive tight end, but he's been really the only productive tight end that's left in these playoffs, maybe outside of Hunter Henry. But Parkinson has been a bit more consistent. So I'm going to go with Parkinson, Adams, and Stafford there for my Rams players.
All right, I guess I'll give my other Patriots players here while we're at it. I'm going with Stephon Diggs because he's the money I had left for the flex. So he's actually my flex because he was the actual last guy I picked. I had just enough money, 6,700. I didn't want to leave it on the table, so I put in Diggs. Look, I'm going to take my shots here. With Diggs, he's the top receiver. He can work the slot. That's going to help him get away from Pat Surtain too. So hopefully, middle of the field, Henry, Diggs, May, that all correlates, and we get the numbers. And I also wanted Ramondre Stevenson. I talked about how I thought this was a grinding game. They got to be methodical with the running game, move the ball, and kind of sustain those long drives. That helps Henry, that helps Diggs, that helps Stevenson, and that helps May. So I'm keeping all four of them together in this lineup.
I actually don't have a single Patriot in my lineup. I just realized I didn't do that on purpose. So our lineups are going to be incredibly different this week. And we have two different game plans here. But my two running backs, I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker. I think he'll be involved as a receiver. He'll get plenty of carries on the ground. And luckily, he will get the goal line work now as well. I had to pay up 8,000, but I was able to do that because I'm taking a big risk at my other running back. He's sitting there all the way at the cheapest of the week at 4,000, and it's J.K. Dobbins. Now, obviously, if he doesn't play, I'm going to be screwed. But, I mean, he's back at practice. We'll see if he can play. I'll have to change this up a bit if he doesn't. But his price was so low that if he is back, they're going to give him goal line work if they ever get around there, right? And I don't think like he's going to score any less than any of these other guys across the league outside of the stars here in Walker and Williams.
All right, I'll give you my three Seahawks players that are making the cut here. It's Kenneth Walker. I'm putting him in as the other back. I just had to do it. I mean, he's the lead back with the highest volume against the team favored to win at home. So I'm going with him. And he's coming off a big game at 8,000. So I'm going with Cooper Kupp. Again, I think he can return some value here. Maybe he'll find the end zone. That'll help him with his $5,800 value. Then I'm also going with Jackson Smith-Njigba. I'm just saying going for it. All in. I guess I'm all in on the Seahawks and Patriots. Okay. Well, that's it. I mean, if you feel strongly about something, why wouldn't you go everywhere with it? That's how I look at it. So 9,400, it's expensive for sure, but I want a piece of JSN for sure, or Puka Nacua is one of those guys, and I'm going here with a JSN. So I've got Walker, Kupp, and JSN from Seattle. I wonder if I have anybody from any other team other than the Seahawks or Patriots in my lineup.
Yeah, so actually the Seahawks, we have all the same three guys because I already told you about Walker. I also have Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp to go with Devontae Adams with my three wide receivers. And then I already let you know that my Kobe Parkinson's my tight end. In my flex, I went with Marvin Mims. He got 8 receptions last week. I do expect this Patriots defense to be able to shut down Sutton. It doesn't mean that Mims will have another good game, but he was cheap, right? And I think he has the best opportunity here, especially with Troy Franklin dealing with a bit of a hamstring injury. We'll see how healthy he can be. And then I went with that Broncos defense. So I really am going against you with the Patriots. But Drake Maye has had a lot of fumbling issues. I think they're going to get a bunch of sacks on him because he's just going to take sacks. It's going to happen even if they win the game. So they were at 4,400. They weren't super expensive. So that's where I finish up my lineup there with the Broncos defense.
Well, I do have the Seahawks defense, so I'm getting closer to having only Seahawks and Patriots in this lineup. And I also remember special teams. Their special teams were fantastic last week as well. So that's where the Seahawks kind of have a big edge here. If you look at the return game and their punter and kicker, that would be where the Seahawks can have the slight third phase advantage. All right, I do have one player that's not on the Seahawks and Patriots for my lineup, Michelle, because I went cheap. I'm hoping that he'll have a bigger role if Franklin is banged up. I couldn't afford Marvin Mims. I really wanted to go there, but I went with little Jordan Humphrey. He dropped a pass in the end zone last week. He caught a pass in the end zone last week, 5,200. I'm hoping different quarterback, Jarrett Stidham, backups. Maybe he has a little bit of chemistry here with little Jordan Humphrey. Plus, it's fun to say little Jordan Humphrey.
It really is. It's really funny every time he does anything because his name is so fun to say. To recap our lineups, I have Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Kenneth Walker and J.K. Dobbins at running back, JSN, Devontae Adams, and Cooper Kupp at wide receiver, Kobe Parkinson at tight end, Marvin Mims in my flex, and the Broncos defense.
All right, it's very simple. All Patriots and Seahawks except for one dude. Drake Maye, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Hunter Henry, Stephon Diggs, Seahawks defense, and the fun name to say, little Jordan Humphrey.
Very good. That will be it for today's episode. We'll be back with you on Monday. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Fantasy Football so you get all the latest episodes. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Fantasy Football ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonfantasyfootball.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to join the club. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye, y'all.